Hello, everyone. This is Murat. Right now, we are with my friend Kanishka, and we are in our another data talks together with you. By the way, today we record our data talks is not in Istanbul. We are in Dubai. Dubai GITEX Fair Show. It's the biggest fair show in Gulf region about technology, AI, and data. That's why we think it's a great place to talk about data, AI, and everything with my friend Kanishka. He's from Sri Lanka and he's the CEO of a fintech company. We are going to talk about data and AI and importance of data analytics for finance industry and fintechs. Let me first introduce Kanishka. Let's start from the your small introduction to our friends, subscribers on Data Talks. Kanishka, who are you and what do you do?
Right. Thank you very much for having this discussion with me. So I run a company called Pay Media and Direct Pay. They are, both of them are two fintech companies. And under Pay Media, we provide services for about 16 banks in Sri Lanka.
Wow.
And one telco in Maldives, and also a couple of other banks in the region of South Asia.
Great.
Our predominant solutions are on internet banking, mobile banking, payment apps, as well as digital onboarding. So we collect a lot of data. I think this discussion might be really relevant.
Thank you so much, Kanishka. So you mentioned about 16 bank, right?
Correct.
So you are collecting terabytes of data in every week, I think, or each day. So what do you think about, especially Sri Lankan market, the importance of data for the banking industry? Among the eyes of your business units, you are working a lot of banking customers. So what is the importance of the data for them and for you, of course?
Yeah, there are a couple of angles in that, right? So one of the areas that we're looking at is on the primary data, that is basically KYC data.
Okay.
So one of the areas that you wanted to do in future is shared KYC. So you come on board with one bank and that data could be shared among other banks, of course, with the permission from the customer. So we have a data protection act in place in Sri Lanka right now. The second angle is on the fraud side.
Before fraud, I would like to ask what is KYC in the long term?
Know your customer. We have your business.
Okay.
Right? That is some data with regard to the passport validations, billing proof, and also we go into the extent of your data income sources. Sometimes we also go into your partners' data income sources, and
Great.
so that's quite a lot of data.
So while I am entering the country, I was looking at the camera and then change my face and then enter the country and put my passport. This is the government-based KYC, right?
Correct. That is basically on the immigration level. I think now you don't even need the passport scan. When I came to Dubai, it didn't ask me to scan the passport. It said just show your face and walk in.
So you run this software and AI into banking app,
Exactly.
mobile app, right?
So we do the KYC. Then once you do the KYC, we onboard the customer into the platform. Then the bulk of data will come. That is your transaction data. So that is where we look at fraud, abnormal transactions, and there are a lot of things. The third part of data is we also get data from different systems. We have mobile banking. We also have loan origination systems. We have card systems where you do your credit card, debit card transactions.
Okay.
You also have data coming from phoning systems. You also have data coming from CRM.
CRM. Perfect.
And most unstructured data is coming from social media.
Yeah.
The feedbacks to whatnot, right?
Advertisements,
Advertisements,
everything.
right? So all this data we collect. I'll tell you a use case we have done. Our engagement is also will be relevant. If you look at Sri Lanka used to give a loan for a customer within about 3 weeks.
It takes on average.
Right? In average.
Home loan or personal loan?
Personal.
Okay.
Right? So when it came to use of technology, it was minimized to 72 hours to 48 hours. That's good. But still, there was manual process going on.
Great.
Now, with one bank, we were able to implement within 30 seconds to get the decision. That is the power of the data.
Wow.
So we take all your data for the last 3 years, we analyze, we basically, based on that, we take a decision. Right? So 3 weeks to 72 hours to 30 seconds.
Wow. I understand if 16 banks are using your solution for digital banking in Sri Lanka, It's quite a great digitalization for the banks in Sri Lanka, right?
Yeah. See, the actual opportunities now, if you look at right now, customers or the banks, they run on silos. They have their own data center, but we are building them a product for buy now, pay later, which is all the banks are agreeing to connect in one platform.
Okay.
For credit decision and also trade financing platform where traders can get credit valuated through the banks.
This is another product, trade finance.
So it's basically for business loans and personal
Loans.
when you build a platform,
Okay.
the real power of data can be harnessed. Because what happens is you get scored in one bank and this can be shared among the other banks with the permission of the customer.
So are there any data transfer from one bank to another, or there is some central data storage, the sharing the data with the customer loan data with the credit score data?
Credit scoring.
with
That
the-
is so what the banks or the finance companies require the scoring and the risk, of course. They don't need the data. So data can be basically kept at central location and processed and the result can be shared with them. So that will take not only Sri Lanka, the customers of ours to the next level.
Great.
So that is basically power of data.
Exactly.
And for you to get a bank loan in 30 seconds.
It's awesome, I feel. So even in US, there is not that powerful online digital banking system. One more question. You mentioned fraud detection in the banking, and you collect the fraud and then alert it, create the notifications and anomalies, and report it to the fraud specialist in the bank, right? They have a monitoring and they do. So, what kind of frauds are happening? Like, one, two, like, interesting example.
Yeah. So the explanation which you gave is yesterday's.
Really?
Yeah. We don't want to report it to anybody to be alert about the fraud. What we want is when somebody is doing a transaction,
Okay.
the decision has to come and then and there approve the transaction or block the transaction. Right? You do deal with the decision later on.
Yeah.
Because what happens is if the decision is given to somebody to authorize,
Yeah.
again that time can be a bit of hours and it can be somewhere what can take place. So what we want is when you do the transaction on the fly to decide the risk level of this transaction, whether to pass it or drop the case.
Near real time.
Near real time.
Yeah.
And if it is hold and drop,
Yeah.
that can be dealt separately.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So because if you look at globally, the transaction volumes are, growing at a rate.
Yeah.
I don't think we can cope up with some manual intervention there.
No.
It has to come with the data and the decisions.
My last question is about global payment applications. So in Sri Lanka, if I, as a tourist, come to Sri Lanka to spend 10 days, how can I solve the touchless payments without credit card? Do you have any integration with the like Revolut or Klarna or other like money transfer? If I want to transfer money from to my mother while I am working in Sri Lanka, how does it work?
We have Western Union to Wise working in Sri Lanka. So you can use one of those platforms to transfer out. But transfer in is very easy. A lot of integrations done with almost all the money transfer agents into Sri Lanka. So the cross-border side. We are very strong with MasterCard, Visa, South China Union Pay, JCB, Amex, Discovery and Diners. All the schemes are working. Any of these schemes, I think most popular thing is Visa and Master. So you can do tap and pay. Most of the POS terminals are enabled for tap and pay. So that's there. There are a couple of projects being launched with Visa in terms of encouraging most of the micro merchants to have Android-based app where they can accept tap and pay. Perfect. So that's infrastructure is there. The only thing is we see a lot of tourists coming in and using cards, but there is associated cost because it's a cross-border transaction.
Okay.
So Sri Lanka has already implemented Lanka QR.
What's Lanka QR?
Lanka QR is basically a QR code where people can scan. But as a foreigner, you don't have a bank account in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Right? So we recently launched a product called Pay Local.
Pay local.
Yeah. You can put any of the Visa, MasterCard, any of the international schemes into a mobile app called Lanka Pay.
Okay.
You can use that app. You can go and scan a local vendor with a QR code.
Restaurant?
And any restaurant, any small merchant by the street.
Is that common?
Yeah.
By the news?
Yeah. So you scan it and you can make a payment with QR code.
Wow.
What happens is your card will be transacted and the local merchant will get the money then and there.
Really?
Yeah. So it's real time. Not
That's
even
great.
real time, it's real time money.
Wow, that's
right?
great.
So that's where we encourage foreigners to have any of the cards, and it is completely secured because it's provided by Mastercard. We have launched the product, and I was a part of the development of the product.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for this great conversation. And thank you for having me a great data talks to sharing your time.
Sure.
I hope we will see what happens in the data and the banking in Sri Lanka. I will visit you and then see what happens in Sri Lankan digitalization environment. Thanks so much for listening to us. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.